Hey everyone, I'm Felix Gomes. Welcome to the Roaming Gomes. Now I gotta be honest, I haven't posted a video to this channel in over a year. This channel used to be known as We Found Our Way and is now known as the Roaming Gomes. I kind of walked away from this channel to start a different channel, Nomad Outdoors, which focuses on my adventures outdoors. And I let this channel go by the wayside. I'm bringing this channel back now. I want to reinvigorate it. I want to bring it back to life. Talking about everything RV life related. So I thought the best way to open that up would be to do a quick review of our 3 years on the road. We just celebrated our third anniversary on October 1st, 2022. And I wanted to go over that. Take a look back and talk a little bit about where we're going in the future. Now, we've learned a lot on the road. And our biggest lesson, which who'd have thought, came when we went from our first nursing contract in Tulsa, Oklahoma, to our second nursing contract in Las Cruces, New Mexico. First of all, nobody would have guessed that our first long-term stay at Tulsa RV Ranch would be what eventually turned out to be our worst long-term stay. But that's neither here nor there, and you can see that review right here. But the trip from Tulsa to Las Cruces was going to be travel from Tulsa to Santa Rosa, New Mexico, spend one night, travel from Santa Rosa to Las Cruces. Quick, easy, no big deal. Well, it turned out to be a big deal. We got to Santa Rosa on a Sunday. The plan was to pull out Monday morning and be in Las Cruces, New Mexico by Monday afternoon. We woke up Monday morning and I guess we hadn't completely thought it through, but we were going to have to go through the mountains to get to Las Cruces. Basically, it was up over mountains and then down into Las Cruces. Okay. However, Monday morning we found out that there were 50 to 60 mile an hour winds out there, right on the path that we were taking. Okay, we'll stay another night and leave on Tuesday. Monday night, it starts snowing. And we wake up Tuesday morning. First of all, the temperatures dropped to around 12 degrees Monday night. And it started snowing. And we ended up with about 3 inches of snow on the ground. I was not going to drive in snow and ice. Period. So I look at the weather forecast, and as it turns out, Wednesday is going to be wonderful for travel. 55 degrees, sunny, no wind. Thursday, the wind would be picking up again. So Wednesday was our window. Wednesday morning, we hook up and pull out. Sun is shining. By the time we pulled out, it was probably in the mid to upper 40s. We were happy as a lark. Until we got further down State Road 54, which was basically our entire route. We had to go down State Road 54 and then onto I-70 into Las Cruces. We got near the top of the mountain that we needed to go over. And now I need to qualify this. We were at the time towing with a Ford F-150, a 2009, that had literally the smallest V8 engine that they offered for this truck, a 4.6 liter engine. I had bought this truck to tow my boat, which weighed in at about a total of 2,000 pounds. I was now towing a 26-foot long travel trailer that was total of about close to 7,000 pounds, fully loaded. That truck was not intended for that. I'm not going to say that the truck didn't handle it. It got us from Greenville, North Carolina to Tulsa, Oklahoma. From Tulsa, it got us to Las Cruces. Spoiler alert. However, going over the mountains, the temperature apparently was not quite as high, and there was snow and ice on the road. And I got to about near the top of the mountain. What I was driving on had a sheer rock wall to our left and a sheer drop-off to our right with no guardrail. Fun times. Well, at one point near the top of the mountain, I feel the trailer starting to slide on the ice towards the right, and that wonderful drop-off. I was extremely fortunate. I was able to gun the engine and pull the trailer back to the road, get it straight again, and continue. I was crawling over this mountain. Well, get a little further, and literally the exact same thing happened. I'm telling you, I saw my life flash before my eyes. I mean, people say that that happens, and it's generally considered just an exaggeration. No, I saw my life flash before my eyes. I had this vision of me dropping off a mountain, and that was going to be the end of it. Once we got to the top of the mountain, and we started going down, it was like an entirely different ride. The roads were clear and dry, it started to warm up, and everything was beautiful. And the lesson we learned was we needed a bigger truck, which we bought in Las Cruces from a gentleman by the name of John who was selling fleet trucks. And what I got was this Ford F-250, which has been serving us extremely well since then. That was February of 2020. Now, my wife started her contract in February of 2020 in Las Cruces. We actually didn't have as much time between contracts as she wanted to because of all the time we had to spend in Santa Rosa, but she started her contract, worked her 3 months, and then signed an extension. We were going to stay in Las Cruces for another 3 months. Well, as it turns out, that was the very beginning of COVID. And I mean literally the beginning of COVID. February of 2020 is when people started talking about this disease that was threatening us. And by May of 2020, which is when she signed her extension, it was full blown. Like many hospitals, Memorial Hospital in Las Cruces, New Mexico, canceled all of their travel nurse contracts. So we were in New Mexico, thousands of miles from home, which now we don't call that home. We call this trailer home. But at that time, we were thinking in terms of we're thousands of miles from Greenville, North Carolina. and we're unemployed. Both of us. I was ostensibly retired. Now I am completely retired. And my wife was out of work. Well, her travel nursing agency came through. They got us, we didn't want to travel cross country, go back to Greenville or go back to the East Coast. We had no idea what was going on with this pandemic that they were calling it at the time, coronavirus. And we were hearing that states were shutting down their borders and we couldn't travel cross country. So her travel nursing agency got us a contract in Tucson, Arizona. We traveled from Las Cruces to Tucson one day. It's a 4-hour ride. And my wife started her contract there. After that, we did travel cross country and came all the way back across to Tifton, Georgia. But I would be remiss if I did not mention the RV park that we stayed in Tucson, Arizona, and the review that I gave it on this channel, which you can see it here, which was glowing. To this day, it is one of the 2 best RV parks we've ever stayed in. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that at the end of the video, so stick around. Now, we get to Tifton, Georgia, and that is a KOA. My wife's contract is in Tifton. Not far away at all. Perfect location. No problems with COVID. Other than she had to work on COVID units. It is what it is. But that was the other one of 2 RV parks that we consider the best. We absolutely fell in love with Tifton KOA. My only problem with Tifton and the surrounding area was it was kind of out in the middle of nowhere, and there just wasn't anything to do. There wasn't even outdoor opportunities. And I had already started our other channel. But I did the best I could. My wife ended up extending there. We spent 6 months in Tifton. And we'd go back tomorrow. Just because of the RV park. After that, we traveled up the coast to Smyrna, Tennessee, which would come to be known to this day as the second worst RV park we've ever stayed in. I-24 Campground in Smyrna, Tennessee. It's just outside of Nashville, which is where my wife's contract was. And I had a ton of outdoor opportunities. I was able to do a big through hike, an overnight hike. I was able to go out, do everything I wanted to do. For that, and for things to do in general, I mean, we went to the Grand Ole Opry. It was top flight. The RV park, however, was not. I have not yet done a review of that park, and I will. It will come up on the channel at some point. After Smyrna, and again, we spent 6 months there, my wife extended, we decided that we were going to stop home. Greenville, North Carolina. and then move on to my wife's contract in Charlotte, North Carolina, which actually we stayed in Fort Mill, South Carolina, but the contract was in Charlotte, which was walking distance to the border of Charlotte and South Carolina. When we returned to Greenville, that's when I found that I loved kayaking. And I needed someplace with more outdoor space. Not a problem. Fort Mill kind of met the challenge. Not the greatest, but it is what it is. And again, my wife spent 6 months after having extended her contract. That campground kind of falls in the middle. Not the best, not the worst, but that was where we were staying when we bought our new RV. What I'm filming in right now. A 34-foot Keystone Cougar. And there's a tour of this that I'm going to be posting either next week or the week after. After Fort Mill, we had made the decision that we needed to get back out west. That's where we wanted to go. But first, we were going to stay for a month or so in Pennsylvania and visit my 2 sons and their 2 daughters, which had been born while we were on the road.
Roro, who is that? Papa. Pop-Pop? Is Pop-Pop over there? Who is that?
So we went to another KOA in Allentown, Pennsylvania. Not bad. It was enjoyable. It was a good place to stay. And we got to see my son Chris and his daughter Rosalie, my son Jason and his daughter Charlotte. And then we headed for the West Coast again. Or west again, the Southwest. Which brings us to where we are right now and where I'm filming this. Albuquerque, New Mexico. I'll give you a review of the RV park after we leave, which we're leaving November 28th. And we're returning to Tucson. And that was what I was talking about. I was going to mention that RV park again. We are returning to the same RV park, Cactus Country RV Resort, which they saw the review that I gave them, and they made a space for us. They opened up a space for us so that we could go there. I don't know if you guys know this, but end of November, December time frame is their peak time in Tucson. And they worked it out that they could get us in for however long we want the spot. So I'm not just talking and saying how good this RV park is. I'm putting my money where my mouth is. We're going back. So November 29th, we will be in Tucson at Cactus Country RV Resort, and I will definitely show you some of that area. But that's it for now. This is the Roaming Gomes. Until I see you out there, safe travels.